NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte called for Europe to get organized and prepare to take part in peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. That means ongoing military support, ongoing in terms of weapons deliveries and ongoing training support to Ukraine, but also that there is large-scale agreements that whenever a deal is done, that deal is durable, is lasting, that Putin will never again try to catch a square mile of Ukraine, Rutte said, speaking at the Munich Security Conference. To the European allies again, make sure that the training is there, the staff is there, the military gear, but also come up with the plans, create the facts, engage in the debates, he added. According to Associated Press, the future of Ukraine is the top item on the agenda at the Munich Security Conference following a phone call between US President Donald Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin this week, when they pledged to work together to end the 3-year-old Russia-Ukraine conflict. Trump's musings have left Europeans in a quandary, wondering how, or even if, they can maintain the post-World War II security that NATO afforded them or fill the gap in the billions of dollars of security assistance that the Democratic Biden administration provided to Ukraine since Russia's February 2022 invasion. Trump has been highly skeptical of that aid and is expected to cut or otherwise limit it as negotiations get underway in the coming days.
I think there's a general agreement that on Ukraine we have to make sure that they are in the best possible position when peace talks start, for them to participate in those talks, and it means ongoing military support, ongoing in terms of weapon deliveries and ongoing training support to Ukraine. But also there is large-scale agreement that whenever a deal is done, that deal is durable, is lasting, that Putin will never again try to catch a square mile of Ukraine. And that means for the European NATO allies that I know they're thinking about is what they can do now to make sure that the training and the military support is continuing, but also post a deal, what the Europeans can do together with others to make sure that that deal is indeed sustained. Can I be very honest about my European friends? I really believe what Europeans have to do now is to come up with the concrete plans. One, to get more military aid into Ukraine. Secondly, to get more training into Ukraine. I know that many initiatives are being thought through, are really already brought on board. But also to think through that whenever a peace deal is done, how European countries, probably together with others, but how the European countries can help there. So create the facts. Create the facts on the ground, create the facts in terms of the plans you are making, and that is the best way to get your part at a table. So I would say do this, that's positive, much better than to think, okay, where are we? So we have here at this moment almost the whole foreign policy team out of the US. So whenever Europeans are saying we want to be consulted, they are here. Munich, last time I checked, is in Europe. They are in Europe, they are consulting here with their European allies, and to the European allies again, make sure that the training is there, the staff is there, the military gear, but also come up with the plans, create the facts, engage in the debate. Really, the Europeans can do that. It has been done before.
Russia has released an American teacher imprisoned over what his family said was prescribed medical marijuana, but several other Americans remain in Russian custody. Teacher Mark Fogel was released in what the White House described Tuesday as a diplomatic thaw. Fogel was arrested in August 2021 and is serving a 14-year prison sentence on drug charges. He was designated by President Joe Biden's administration as wrongfully detained in December. Fogel's release follows a massive prisoner swap last August that resulted in the release of Wall Street Journal reporter Ivan Gershkovich and corporate security executive Paul Whelan, among others. Here is a look at other Americans who remain in Russian custody. Ksenia Kavana, the US-Russian dual national, was arrested in Yekaterinburg in January 2024 on treason charges, accused of giving a donation to a charity aiding Ukraine. She was sentenced in August to 12 years in prison. She obtained US citizenship after marrying an American and was on a family visit from Los Angeles when arrested. Rights activists said the charges stem from a $51 donation to a US charity that helps Ukraine. Stephen Hubbard, The Michigan native was convicted of fighting alongside Ukraine's military as a mercenary against Russia and sentenced to 6 years and 10 months in October 2024. Prosecutors said in the closed trial that Hubbard had signed a contract with Ukraine's military shortly after Russian troops invaded in February 2022 and that he fought with the Ukrainian side until being captured 2 months later. Hubbard, who was 72 at the time of his conviction, was the first American known to have been convicted of fighting for Ukraine in the conflict. Travis Leake, the musician, was convicted on drug charges and sentenced to 13 years in prison in July 2024. An Instagram page described him as the singer for the band Lovey Knock Seize the Night. News reports said he is a former paratrooper with the US military and had lived in Moscow since 2010. Gordon Black, an Army Staff Sergeant, Black was convicted in June 2024 in Vladivostok of stealing and making threats against his girlfriend and was sentenced to 3 years and 9 months in prison. He had flown to Russia from his post in South Korea without authorization and was arrested in May after she accused him of stealing from her, according to US and Russian authorities. Robert Woodland, a Russia-born US citizen, was convicted of drug trafficking in July 2024 and sentenced to 12.5 years in prison. Russian media reported that his name matches a US citizen interviewed in 2020 who said he was born in the Perm region in 1991 and adopted by an American couple at age 2. He said he traveled to Russia to find his mother and eventually met her on a TV show. David Barnes, an engineer from Texas, Barnes was arrested in 2022 while visiting his sons in Russia, where their mother had taken them. His supporters say the woman made baseless claims of sexual abuse that already had been discredited by Texas investigators, but a Russian court in February 2024 convicted him on those claims anyway and sentenced him to 21 years in prison. Robert Gilman, identified in the media as a former US Marine, Gilman was arrested in 2022 for allegedly assaulting a police officer after a drunken disturbance on a train. He was initially handed a 3.5-year sentence, then allegedly attacked a prison inspector during a cell check and was sentenced in October 2024 to 7 years and 1 month in prison. Eugene Spector, a Russian-born US citizen in prison on bribery charges, Spector was handed a second 15-year term for espionage in December 2024. Spector, formerly an executive at a medical equipment company in Russia, was previously sentenced to 3.5 years in prison in September 2022 for enabling bribes to a Russian government official. Joseph Tatar. Tatar was arrested in August 2024 at an upscale Moscow hotel after failing to provide documents showing that he entered the country legitimately. At a police station, he allegedly attacked an officer. He has been in custody awaiting trial on assaulting a law officer, which carries a sentence of up to 5 years. At a September court hearing, Tatar claimed he came to Russia to seek political asylum and that he was being persecuted by the CIA.